My name is Clara Vance, and I'm 33 years old. If you'd asked me a couple of months ago to describe my life, I would have said it was steady. Not glamorous, not tragic, just solid, in a way that made sense to me. I'm a high school art history teacher. I make enough to live on, not enough to impress anyone who measures worth in square footage and car brands. I rent a modest one-bedroom apartment with creaky floors and a dishwasher that kicks on automatically at 11:00 p.m., because that's when the off-peak power rates start. Every Sunday at 5:00 p.m., my budget spreadsheet updates itself, color-coded formulas, locked categories, neatly labeled rent, groceries, savings, future maybe. The projections live on hidden tabs only I ever see. That sheet is my ballast. As long as the numbers line up, I feel like my life does too. At the center of that steady life was my boyfriend, Julian Reed. Julian is 28, 5 years younger, though he carries himself like he's auditioning for a 30 under 30 list every time he walks into a room. He works in sales for a fintech startup. Buzzwords branded hoodies, rooftop, happy hours. He lives in one of those downtown luxury buildings with a lobby that looks like a boutique hotel, and a concierge who calls you sir like it's part of the lease. Julian always looks put together. Designer sneakers, fitted shirts, hair that somehow never frizzes even in humidity. People notice him. And when he introduced me as his girlfriend, I used to feel lucky, like I'd gotten picked out of a lineup I didn't even know I was in. We'd been together for about 9 months. We met at a friend's engagement party and bonded over old-school R&B and mutual hatred of mayonnaise. He laughed at my dry jokes. I liked that he actually asked follow-up questions when I talked about my students. It felt easy, real normal until the Tuesday night that split everything open. It was early November. I just finished grading a stack of essays about symbolism in The Great Gatsby and was sitting in my car outside a Thai place scrolling through the menu on my phone. We had a routine. Sometimes I'd grab takeout and bring it to Julian's place. We'd eat on his couch, half watch a show, half make fun of the commercials. Nothing dramatic, just couple stuff. I texted him like I always did. Me, hey, want me to swing by with dinner? I'm outside Basil and Mint. He didn't reply right away. No big deal. I ordered pad see ew for him, green curry for me, spring rolls to share. By the time the order was ready, my phone buzzed. Julian, actually, can you not come by unannounced anymore? I frowned at the screen. Me, I literally just asked. That's not unannounced. 3 dots. Then Julian, you know what I mean, see, it's just my building has a certain vibe and people talk. I stared at that for a full 10 seconds, some cold little thread starting at the base of my neck. Me, what does that mean, Julian? Another pause. I watched the typing bubble appear, disappear, come back. Julian, the other tenants here are pretty high profile. They date like influencers, founders, finance girls. I don't want them seeing me with... Another pause. You know. My grip tightened around the phone. Me? With what exactly? Julian, someone who doesn't really fit that image. There it was, not even dressed up in nice words. I read the message 3 times to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding. I'm a teacher. I know how to read. It said exactly what it looked like. It said me, so I'm an embarrassment. Julian, don't be dramatic. I'm just saying maybe we keep things at your place more, or meet out somewhere. It's about perception. Image matters here. Image. As if I were a smudge on his glossy lobby floor. My chest felt heavy but hollow at the same time, like someone had scooped something out and left the outline. Me. Understood. He replied almost instantly. Julian. Thank you for being mature about this. I stared at those words until they blurred. Mature like I'd just agreed to a reasonable compromise instead of being told I was what too ordinary to be seen with in his high-rise terrarium. The pad see ew was getting cold in the passenger seat. I didn't feel hungry anymore. I didn't text him back. I drove home instead. The takeaway bag perfuming my car with garlic and basil while my thoughts turned into a slow, simmering boil. It wasn't anger at first, just this crystallizing clarity about who I was actually dating, about what he'd maybe been thinking this whole time, and just finally said out loud. I got home, kicked off my shoes, put the food in the fridge without even opening the containers, and sat on my couch in the dark with my phone in my hand. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I opened Instagram. I'd followed Julian since we started dating, but I'd never studied it. Not really. I'd liked photos, left the occasional heart emoji scrolled past the rest. That night, I scrolled back months. His feed was a highlight reel of perfectly lit rooftop bars, craft cocktail shots from VIP sections at clubs, taglines like Monday grind, Friday shine, and building the life I deserve. He was always surrounded by people who looked like they'd stepped out of ad campaigns. Women in tiny dresses and sky-high heels, guys in slims and expensive watches. I realized something that should have bothered me earlier. In 9 months together, I wasn't in a single picture. Not one. There were group photos, sure nights out, dinners, parties, plenty of women tagged, but never me. If you looked at his profile, you'd think he was single on the market, always available for the next better thing. I told myself it was just social media. People curate what they want to show. It's not real life. So I clicked on his tagged photos. That's where the real story was. 2 weeks ago, someone had posted a picture from a rooftop party. String lights, city skyline people packed shoulder to shoulder. Julian stood with a woman in a silver dress hand, resting low on her back. She had that perfectly polished look. Sleek hair, contoured cheekbones, a champagne flute in one hand. The caption read, "Power couples only." They were both tagged. Julian and the woman Serena Vane. I clicked her profile. Private, of course, but her bio had just enough. Investor relations brand partnerships, champagne enthusiast, 5,000 followers. Profile picture of her in an evening gown next to a car I couldn't afford, even if I emptied every account and sold a kidney. My stomach twisted. I toggled over to Julian's DMs. We mostly texted by phone, but we'd messaged on Instagram when we first started talking. Our old thread was still there, buried under other names. I scrolled up until my thumb hurt, and then I found it. A conversation from early on, around the time he'd told me he wanted to be exclusive. My finger hovered over the date. October 12th, Julian to someone named Tyler Ross. Just keeping my options open, LOL. She's sweet, but definitely not endgame material. I swallowed, mouth suddenly dry. Tyler backup plan. Julian more like a placeholder until something better comes along. My hands started to shake. October 12th. 2 days after he leaned across my couch, kissed my forehead, and told me he didn't want to see anyone else. I took a screenshot, then another and another. Every flirty comment he left on Serena's photos, every heart eye emoji on other women's posts, the photo from the rooftop with the power couples caption, every little digital crumb that confirmed what that one sentence had said out loud. I wasn't his partner. I was his placeholder. At some point, my teacher brain kicked in, the part of me that organizes essays into folders and grades with rubrics. I created a new album and dumped all the screenshots into it, date-stamped, labeled in my head. I didn't know what I was going to do with them. I just knew I wanted proof. Proof that it wasn't all in my head. Proof that there had been a line and he'd crossed it and then had the nerve to talk to me about image, like I was a stain on his brand. The next morning, I went to work, like nothing had happened. I handed out quizzes, answered questions about thesis statements, told a sophomore he couldn't end his persuasive essay with, "So yeah, that's why." I smiled, joked, moved on autopilot. At lunch, I sat in the teacher's lounge with my colleague and best friend Benji Cohen. Benji teaches civics and eats like he's still in college. Chips, soda, whatever's left in the vending machine at 11 a.m. He took one look at me and frowned. "You look like you slept in the copier room," he said around a mouthful of potato chips. "Didn't sleep much?" I replied. "What's wrong?" I hesitated. Then I slid my phone across the table, the album open. "Read." He scrolled. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief to anger. "He really texted you that you don't fit the image of his building?" Benji asked, voice getting louder. "Keep it down," I muttered, glancing at the doorway. "And this," he jabbed at the screenshot of the chat with Tyler. "Placeholder. He called you a placeholder." I felt my jaw clench, apparently. Benji leaned back, exhaled slowly. "Okay, so you're going to dump him like yesterday's lesson plan, right?" "I know," I said. "So why haven't you—" I stared at my phone at Julian's frozen words on the screen. I didn't have a neat, reasonable answer. I just had this knot in my chest that wasn't going away. "Because," I said finally, "I want him to know that I know. I want him to feel what I felt reading those messages." Benji squinted at me. "That sounds petty." "Maybe," he shrugged. "I'm in." A smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. "You don't even know the plan." "Don't care if it involves him regretting his life choices. I'm interested." That night, after back-to-back parent emails and a pile of vocabulary quizzes, I sat at my tiny kitchen table and pulled up Julian's building address on my laptop. I'd been there enough times to have it saved in my contacts. Luxury apartments, granite, everything, floor-to-ceiling windows, rent starting at more than I make in a month. I scrolled through the marketing photos, the ones that promised elevated living and curated experiences. There was a picture of the lobby gleaming marble modern art on the walls, a concierge desk with a man in a suit standing behind it. The kind of place where a high school teacher with a budget spreadsheet and a 11 p.m. dishwasher doesn't fit the image. An idea slid into my mind so smoothly. It almost felt like it had been waiting there all along. A terrible, petty, absolutely perfect idea. I picked up my phone and called Benji. "I need you to do something weird," I said. "How weird?" he asked. I looked at the building's homepage again at the glass, the marble, the carefully curated facade. I imagined Julian's face when it all cracked. "Weird enough," I said, feeling the first spark of something sharp and steady cut through the hurt. "But trust me, it's going to be worth it." I heard Benji exhale on the other end of the line. "Define weird," he said. I swiveled my laptop around so I was looking straight at the photo of Julian's building lobby, marble glass art that probably cost more than my car. "I need you to dress up," I said, "like stupidly nice, and deliver something to Julian's building for me." "Like a pizza?" Benji asked. "Because I don't think I own pizza delivery but make it luxury clothes." "Not a pizza," I said. "A letter." Silence. Then cautiously, "What kind of letter?" "A breakup letter," I said, "from Serena." He let out a low whistle. "You are not playing around." I pinched the bridge of my nose, trying to organize the chaos in my head into sentences. "You saw the screenshots," I said. "He's been circling her for months, commenting on everything, flirting in public like I don't exist. That rooftop photo power couples only. They didn't just meet that night." Benji cleared his throat. I did a little scrolling of my own after lunch," he admitted. "There are older tagged photos of them together from last year before you. Looks like they dated for a bit or something." The word set my teeth on edge. Ex, of course. "So she's not just some random girl on his feed," I said. "She's his ex, his endgame candidate, and you're the placeholder," Benji said quietly. "The thing about hearing someone else say it out loud is that it removes any room for denial. The word just hangs there between you." I swallowed. "Yeah." On the screen, the cursor blinked in the search bar at the top of Julian's building website, like it was waiting for whatever came next. "So what's the plan?" Benji asked. "Exactly. I write a letter as if it's from Serena." I said the idea sharpening as I spoke it. "Old money, high status, whatever. She tells him her husband found their messages. She's cutting him off to save her marriage, her assets, her reputation. It's over. No more secret flirting? No more power couple fantasies?" Benji was quiet for a beat. "Serena's married." "She is now," I said. "In the letter, anyway," he snorted. "Cold." "Accurate," I replied. "He wants to orbit rich, shiny people and pretend he's in their world. Fine. Let's let him feel what it's like when that world shuts the door in his face." "And me?" Benji asked. "What's my role in this little morality play? You're going to deliver it?" I said, "In a suit with a nice watch, like you're one of them. You hand it to the concierge. Make it clear it's personal and urgent from S. Vane. He'll either bring it up or call the apartment. Julian will get it and think Serena sent someone." "And you," Benji said, "where will you be watching?" I said, "From the car. I want to see his face when everything he's been chasing slaps him first. Then once he's drowning, I'll text him. Break up. Send the screenshots. He'll lose both of us in one night and spend the rest of his life remembering that feeling every time he walks past a mirror." There was a long pause for a second. I thought the line had dropped. "That's," Benji finally said, "diabolical." "Too much?" I asked, suddenly uncertain. There was a rustle on his end like he was sitting up. "No," he said, "it's perfect. I'm in. You write the letter. I'll figure out how to look like I can afford valet parking." Thursday evening, my apartment turned into a crime scene in reverse. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open, a blank document staring back. Next to it, I'd laid out a pack of cream-colored cardstock I'd bought from the stationery store on my way home, along with a smooth, heavy envelope that felt expensive, even though it wasn't. At the top of the document, I typed, "Julian," then just sat there, hands suspended over the keys. How do you sound like a woman who's never had to worry about a budget spreadsheet in her life? Someone whose calendar is full of charity galas and investor dinners, who treats men like accessories and assets. I thought about Serena's profile picture, about the way she tilted her head just so the flash of a diamond earring the champagne glass. I imagined what kind of man she'd marry. Someone older, maybe established. The kind of guy who says family office without irony. So I wrote, "Julian, I can't do this anymore." I paused, then kept going. "Marcus found your messages." I picked the name at random. Marcus sounded like a man who wore suits and had a private banker. "He's furious. He's threatening to walk to blow up everything we've built. Our house, the accounts, the trust for the kids. I can't risk that. I stared at the word kids for a moment, then left it. Let it land. What we had was fun. You're charming, and I cared about you more than I meant to, but you knew from the beginning that this wasn't forever. You knew what I stood to lose. My eyes burned even though it wasn't my life I was describing. I can't afford the risk anymore. I've already blocked your number and your socials. Please don't try to contact me again. Protecting my family comes first. I'm sorry it has to end this way. S. I read it over 3 times, tweaking the sentences until the voice felt right. Distant, apologetic, but ultimately practical. Not cruel, just done. Like I'd been in my own head since Tuesday night. When I was satisfied, I printed it on the cream cardstock. The paper slid out of the printer, warm and slightly curled, smelling like toner and finality. I folded it carefully, slid it into the envelope, and sealed it. For the finishing touch, I pulled up Serena's Instagram stories. In between club videos and brunch boomerangs, she'd posted a photo of handwritten notes, once some affirmations about abundance and alignment. Her handwriting was loopy and dramatic, like she'd been practicing a signature since middle school. I took a scrap piece of paper and practiced copying just the way she wrote her S. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't have to be. Julian wanted to believe in her. His brain would fill in the gaps. On the front of the envelope, I wrote, "For Julian." Then in the bottom corner, a small stylized S. I set it in the center of the table and just looked at it for a moment. It was amazing how something so small could carry so much weight. Benji showed up at my apartment Friday afternoon just after 4 carrying a garment bag and an energy drink. "I come bearing transformation," he said, stepping inside. I raised an eyebrow. "You went shopping?" "Please," he scoffed. "You think a teacher's salary covers this? I went renting. There's a formal wear place by the mall. The guy said I look like a lawyer who charges by the comma." He emerged from my bathroom 15 minutes later, and I had to admit the man cleaned up well. The suit was dark charcoal and actually fit his shoulders. He'd tamed his usually unruly hair with gel, and there was a watch on his wrist I'd never seen before. "Nice." "Don't freak out," he said, catching my stare. "The watch is fake." "Of course it is," I replied. "I'm not ready to be an accessory to actual theft." He smirked. "So do I look like I belong in a building where the rent costs more than my soul?" I took in the whole picture, the suit, the watch, the quiet confidence he was faking surprisingly well. "You look rich," I said. "There's a difference, G." He shot back, but there was a pleased glint in his eyes. "Got the letter." I held up the envelope. For a second, my fingers didn't want to let go. "Last chance to back out," Benji said softly. I thought about Julian's text. Someone who doesn't really fit that image. About the word placeholder, about how small and invisible I'd felt, scrolling through his perfect little curated life. I handed Benji the envelope. "Let's go." We parked a block away from Julian's building, just far enough that he wouldn't see my car, but close enough that I had a clear view of the entrance. Even from here, the building looked like it was sneering at the rest of the city. Glass steel, a valet stand out front. The concierge desk was visible through the floor-to-ceiling windows, a man in a suit behind it. Benji straightened his tie in the rearview mirror, adjusted his fake Rolex, and took a steadying breath. "Remember," I said, "you're not nervous. You're bored, like you have somewhere more important to be." He rolled his eyes. "I teach 11th grade civics. I'm always bored." He stepped out of the car and walked toward the building's shoulders squared. From where I sat, he looked entirely like he belonged. A man with a purpose and a portfolio. I pulled a pair of old binoculars from my bag. They'd been my dad's from his bird-watching phase. Now apparently they were for stalking ex-boyfriends. I watched Benji approach the desk, exchange a few words with the concierge, and hand over the envelope. I couldn't hear him, but I saw the way he gestured, subtle, serious. The concierge glanced at the envelope, then picked up the phone and dialed. He spoke for a moment, listening, then nodded and pointed toward the elevators. He buzzed Benji in. My phone buzzed a second later. "Benji." "I'm in, going up." I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. 5 long minutes crawled by, each second a tiny hammer in my chest. I watched the elevator doors, the lobby, the sidewalk. I imagined Julian opening his apartment door, expecting what food delivery, a package Serena herself. My phone buzzed again. Benji delivered. He opened the door. I said it was from S. Wanted to make sure he got it personally. He looked confused, but took it. "Place smells like expensive candles and insecurity. Heading back down." A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me before I could stop it. I could almost see it. The little furrow between Julian's brows, the way his mouth would press into a line when something didn't fit his script. Benji reappeared on the sidewalk, shrugged his shoulders like he was shaking off the roll, and walked back to the car. He slid into the passenger seat and loosened his tie. "You owe me so many coffees," he said. "How'd he look?" I asked. "Dressed up," Benji said, like he was expecting company. "I was supposed to go over there tonight," I said quietly. "We were going to lay low so nobody saw me. Remember?" Benji made a face. I hate him officially, like on a historic level. I opened my mouth to reply, but my phone started ringing. Julian. The sound stabbed through the closed space of the car. I stared at his name on the screen. The little photo of him smiling at some rooftop bar. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. He called again. I declined. My phone vibrated with incoming texts. "Julian, see, where are you?" "Julian, I thought you were coming over." "Julian, call me please." "Julian, something happened. I need to talk to you." Benji raised an eyebrow. "He got the letter. Looks like it." I said, my voice strangely calm. More bubbles. "Julian, please just answer your phone." I watched his messages stack on the screen, one after another. The panic was almost palpable even through the pixels. Part of me thrilled at it. Part of me felt nothing at all. I set the phone face down on my lap. "You okay?" Benji asked, softer now. I looked out at the building, the glass, the marble, the uniformed doorman. Somewhere up there, Julian was pacing, replaying every moment with Serena rereading every line of the letter I'd written in her voice. Inside my chest, something steadied. "Yeah," I said. "I am." Benji nodded slowly. "So what now, phase 2? I picked up my phone thumb, hovering over Julian's name, then moved it away. "Not yet," I said. "Let him sit with it for a while. Let him feel what it's like to not be the one choosing." We pulled away from the curb, leaving the building shrinking in the rearview mirror. By the time I got home, my phone showed 4 missed calls and a wall of texts. Apologies, question marks, vague hints about something else he needed to explain. I plugged it in, set its screen down on the counter, and walked away. For the first time in days, the apartment felt quiet in a way that wasn't lonely. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow I'd give him his answer. I woke up Saturday morning to sunlight pouring through the blinds and my phone buzzing nonstop like it was trying to crawl off the nightstand. 17 missed calls, dozens of texts, most from Julian, a few from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't open any of them, not yet. I brushed my teeth, made coffee, watered the tiny basil plant on my windowsill that I kept alive through sheer stubbornness. The world felt lighter. Not happy, not triumphant, but lighter, like a weight I'd been carrying without realizing had finally shifted. At noon, there was a knock at my door. 3 short taps, then 1 long. Benji's signature rhythm. I opened it, and he walked in carrying 2 coffees and a bag of donuts, like we were staging a stakeout. "You ready?" he asked, setting everything on the table. I shrugged, as I'll ever be. Benji pulled out a chair and sat. "Okay, hit me. How many?" "I stopped counting after 15, I said. "And that was an hour ago." He whistled. "Wow, he's spiraling hard." I finally picked up my phone and unlocked it. The screen filled with messages, all variations of, "See, call me, see, what is going on? We need to talk. That letter was not what you think. Please, I just need to explain. I'm begging you. Call me back. Something is really wrong." The desperation practically seeped through the glass. Then something new. "Julian, see, did you send that letter? Julian, see, did you do this?" I set the phone down and sipped my coffee. "He's on to you," Benji said, eyebrows raised. "Good," I replied. He smirked. "You're terrifying, by the way, just objectively." I ignored him and opened my Messages app, scrolling until I found the point where the calls had stopped. Just after 7 p.m. yesterday, I had told him I wasn't coming over. Today I was going to finish the job. I typed me, "I'm not coming over. Not now, not ever. We're done." Before I could fully exhale, the bubble appeared. "Julian, see, why, what did I do?" I attached the first screenshot, the placeholder message, then the rooftop photo with Serena. Then every flirty comment he thought I would never see. Then the message where he told Tyler he was keeping his options open. I hit send. One by one, the messages exploded into his phone. A minute passed. Then, "Julian, this is out of context." "Julian, you're blowing this way out of proportion." "Julian, Serena isn't what you think." "Julian, please just talk to me." "Me, I know everything, Julian. I've known since Tuesday. I just wanted you to know I knew before I walked away." My finger hovered over the screen for a moment. Then I added, "Me. Talk to Serena." "Oh, wait, you can't." I hit send. Benji let out a low, impressed whistle. Cold surgical. Before I could reply, my phone buzzed. With a call from a number I didn't recognize, I almost declined, but something curiosity maybe made me swipe answer. "Hello." A woman's voice calm, tight with anger. "Is this Clara?" "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Olivia Tate." My stomach dropped. "Serena's wife," she said. The room tilted. "What?" My voice cracked in a way I didn't love. "Serena gave me your number," she continued. "She called my husband last night crying about some breakup letter. He had no idea what she was talking about." Silence clamped down around me. "She thought I wrote it," Olivia added, voice flat. "I didn't. But when she described the envelope and the message inside, I knew someone else had set it up. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Olivia didn't wait. "I know it was you." Benji choked on his coffee beside me. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said too quickly. "Yes, you do," Olivia said, sounding almost bored. "And here's the thing, I don't care." My heart stuttered. "You don't?" "No." A small, humorless laugh. "Serena has been circling my husband for months, DMing him, flirting, trying to worm her way into our life. I've had my suspicions about an affair. Now I have confirmation." My mouth went dry. "I should be furious with you," she said. "But frankly, your little letter scared him straight. Marcus deleted her number, blocked her everywhere, and slept on the couch voluntarily for the first time in 10 years. She paused. "So thank you for that." My brain blanked. You're welcome. "I just wanted you to know," Olivia continued, "that whatever you did, it worked. You made them both panic. Maybe that wasn't your intention, but it solved a problem for me. And then almost kindly, I hope you get whatever closure you're looking for." She hung up. Benji stared at me slack-jawed. "Dude," he whispered, "what the hell was that?" I slumped back in my chair, every muscle in my body humming with disbelief. "That," I said, "was not part of the plan." Benji shook his head slowly. "You accidentally broke up a secret almost affair and patched up a wealthy couple's marriage in one night. You're like a chaotic neutral Cupid." I covered my face with both hands. Oh my God. But underneath the shock, something else pulsed. Vindication. Julian hadn't just been chasing Serena. He'd been inserting himself into a married woman's orbit, fantasizing about being the other man trying to be part of a world that wasn't his, and almost blowing up someone else's life to do it. And he'd called me an embarrassment. No more. My phone buzzed again this time. "Julian." I declined. Seconds later, "Julian. See, please pick up. I'm outside your place. I see your car. I know you're home. Please just open the door." Benji's head snapped toward me. "He's here." My pulse leapt. A hard knock rattled my apartment door. Benji froze. "No way." Another knock louder. "Clara," Julian called, voice strained. "I know you can hear me," Benji mouthed. "I can hide in the closet." I glared at him. A third knock. "Clara, please," Julian said. Just talk to me." I stood quietly. Benji whispered, "Don't let him in." I didn't plan to. Slowly, I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. Julian stood there still in last night's clothes. He looked wrecked. Hair mussed eyes, red phone clutched in his hand like a lifeline. He knocked again, softer this time. "Please," he whispered. "I'm sorry." I didn't open the door. He leaned his forehead against the wood. "I didn't mean what I said about the building. I was stupid. I was trying to impress people who don't matter." Silence. "You matter," he said. "You always mattered." Still, I said nothing. "The letter wasn't from Serena," he said suddenly. "I know that now. You sent it. You sent someone to deliver it. Why would you do that? Why would you go to that length just to hurt me?" He let out a shaky breath. "That's cruel, Clara," he said. "You're supposed to be the good one. You're a teacher." That almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered the placeholder message, the rooftop photo, the word embarrassment hidden behind his image talk. I stepped back from the door. Eventually, his voice broke. "You humiliated me," he said softly. "Everyone saw. My doorman, my friends, Serena, her husband. You made me look pathetic. So congratulations. You won." A beat of silence, then footsteps retreating. I didn't move until the hallway was quiet. Benji let out a long exhale. Holy hell. I walked back to the table, heart beating steadily, not fast. He still doesn't understand, I said. He will, Benji replied, just not today. 5 weeks passed. Julian tried to contact me twice more. Once through Instagram, once through a mutual acquaintance. I ignored both. Eventually, the messages stopped. Through that same acquaintance, I heard he'd moved out of the luxury building. Apparently, the rent was too steep without the financial cushion he'd been leaning on. And after the Serena incident, that cushion disappeared. Serena and her husband doing fine. Therapy boundaries, a renewed PR-friendly marriage. Olivia even sent me a Facebook friend request. I accepted. Why not? And me. I rebuilt my routine. My 5 p.m. spreadsheet updates my quiet apartment, my basil plant. A month later, I met someone new at a small bookstore on 5th. His name is Ethan. He's a nurse. Kind eyes, patient laugh. He insisted on paying for his own coffee without turning it into a gesture or a performance. Refreshing. Really refreshing. Sometimes Benji still brings up the Serena letter incident with dramatic flair. I pretend to roll my eyes, but it makes me laugh every time. And the thing about being called someone's placeholder is that it rewrites everything. Every moment, every I care about you becomes suspect. You start wondering if any of it was real or if you were just a filler until something shinier walked by. Julian didn't think he was cruel. That's the part that gets me. But he was. And the letter? Yeah, it was petty. But watching him lose both the fantasy and the fallback in the same night. Worth it. And I'm not the villain here. No matter what story he tells people, I'm just the woman who refused to be someone's backup plan. Maybe this story touched something inside you a moment you lived a feeling you once carried in silence. We've all been in Clara's shoes at some point, haven't we? Standing on the outside of someone else's life, pressing our noses against the glass, wondering why we aren't allowed inside. Wondering why we are kept in the shadows, hidden away like a dirty secret, while they parade their real life in the light. Being treated as a placeholder is a specific kind of pain. It's dehumanizing. It tells you that your value is temporary, that your heart is just a waiting room until the real guest arrives. But here's the truth that Clara found, and that I hope you find too. You are not a rehearsal for someone else's happiness. You are the main event of your own life. Revenge is a tricky thing. Some might call what Clara did petty. Some might call it cruel. But sometimes holding up a mirror to a narcissist isn't about hurting them, it's about protecting yourself. It's about shattering the illusion they've built so that you can finally see the reality. Julian wasn't just hiding Clara. He was hiding his own insecurity, his own hollowness behind a facade of luxury buildings and status symbols. If you are currently feeling like a secret in someone's life, please take this as your sign. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be claimed. You deserve to be in the picture, not just the person taking it. If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts or your own experience in the comments. Have you ever discovered you were a placeholder? How did you handle it? Tell me your story, and tell me where you're watching from so I can create more stories just for you, because you are enough just as you are. See you in the next one.